father passed away, my dad's dad. And this is after his wife and after his youngest son. All right, so you can just imagine like the emotions that are just waving through the family, right? So fast forward to like how the chain of events have happened. So Papa had a will, he did. He didn't have a trust though, but he had a will. And there were three of us immediately, like my dad, my uncle. Between their kids, it was my two cousins and I, all right? And in the will, because I'm learning as I'm going, there's what's called a codicil. And a codicil just changes some things in the will based off whatever reason the individual wanted to make the changes, right? So in the codicil, it just changed like some distributions, okay? Which included me in the distributions, because at first it didn't. But I really wasn't worried about that. But because once Papa died and one of the cousins saw that there was a codicil that didn't leave them something, they immediately started to feel entitled. Mind you, this is after, sympathy cards and things of that, and condolence cards come up missing. Okay. Just, you could just imagine like the mess that could aspire, when a family member passes, And so it gets to the point where, because my grandfather, he owned his house, okay? He owned his house, didn't have insurance on the house, didn't have an insurance policy, okay? And his best friend left him a house when he passed away, so that was a second house. And, it wasn't much. It wasn't much at all, like not even bank accounts or anything like that. But the cousins contested the will because they didn't get this one piece of inheritance, okay? And because of that, everything in the will was like, when I say contested, I mean like they argued the fact, that they may end up in a dire situation if they don't get this, if they don't get that, or whatever, however it will play out for them in their favor. So we have gone through probate court for almost about 4 years, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, about 4 years we've been in probate court. 2 of that was COVID, because of other properties and things of that nature. But I can't stress enough, because just that one person contesting a will and its entirety not even protected by a trust changed the delegation of how things were distributed, like initially. So there were 2 houses, some, things, some really small things, but the houses were the main things. And the first house was my grandfather's and my grandparents' house. That house was to be split between the 2 siblings, of which one has passed away already. So that left his children. So it's my dad and my cousins that are left to one property, and the second property was left to my dad solely. Well, as you can imagine, relatives were living in dad's inherited property, and they did not want to get out no matter how many notifications they received. Like, they were really fighting the fact that they felt like they were owed the house, okay? Not once had they, offered to pay my grandfather taxes, rent, any of that, okay? My father's the one helping Paul keep up with those type of things, He died at 91 years old. He was an old man, but he still had some responsibilities, And to just think back to everything that has happened, and we are just now closing out probate, and my cousins are the ones that we ended up having to put out. And I put this out there because, not to air laundry, okay, but to really get you in the mindset of understanding, like, when people feel entitled, they will work whatever system they need to get what they want, because that's what they're used to. And that's what they did. Lied, deceit, filed motion after motion, never showing up to court, just all type of calamity, just so that they would delay the process or feel like they didn't have to move. So, and not to make a long story short, but I needed to say those things. And there's been some nasty energy, guys. Like, when they say that, these type of things bring families apart, it's the honest truth. Not saying that this did it solely. There's probably some other things also, but just watching how people behave when certain people are no longer gone, and the entitlement that they have, but just for the rest of the parties of the family to not have all of their assets protected the proper way. Like, had there been a trust, none of this would even be existing. And I can't stress enough, like, we can think all day like, oh no, they would never do that, their family, like, we'll all be hurt. Like, yeah, but that when it's time, like, people are different when money is on the line. Like, and you would think like Papa had $5 million that we were all looking to split. No. So I want to share that moment because it is a load off. Like, we couldn't even mourn Papa the right way because of so much subterfuge and so much deceit, and man, when I say stressful lies, like anything crazy that you can think of, it has happened. It will happen. So get a trust. Learn the difference between revocable and irrevocable. And a living trust matters too, because not all situations that are massive end in death. Things may change, like Papa's mental situation changed. Okay? And at 90 some years old, at 89 years old, they're going to deem him, not all the way there. But I mean, he's 91. He can still write his name. It's never legible. But he knows where he is. He knows all that. But she took that one thing and ran with it. So you guys, I just can't stress enough to just get a trust, living and after death. Load all of your assets. It doesn't matter if it's a car and a house. It doesn't matter if you got accounts. Stop everything you have that is of value to you. Put it in a trust. And make sure that it's revocable. That means it can be changed to, because for different trustees and things of that nature. But I can't stress that enough, guys. Protect your assets properly. That's the new thing. Proper protection prevents probate. All right? Guys, take care. And pray for your family. Learn this stuff. It's not hard. It's just, information on information. Like, this is something like that will keep us out of situations. That is something that will, keep things from being of blunder and of like what happens next. If these things are already preset and organized to, to be distributed in a strategic way, like, prepare for that. And work your butts off to not ever have to deal with probate. But it's over though. But yeah, that's what's been going on, guys. That's why I haven't been at 5 a.m. story in the past couple days. Immediately there was an eviction set out, after paperworks were handled by the judge and everything. There was an immediate eviction. Like, we didn't even have time to prepare. The bailiff told us that he could come out that day, and it happened. And I can't believe that it happened. I get it in life. You gotta do some harsh things. That's business too, But this was like something you would never think you'd have to need to do. But again, entitlement goes a long way. So look, I just wanted to like have a moment of vulnerability with you all, just to let you know, like, what I do is serious, okay? I'm not saying that I have all the answers and I've dodged all of these things. Like, I'm watching through my parents and my grandparents and people that have come before me on what not to do and how, like, soon it needs to be changed. There's a lot of us that don't think on this level. A lot of us put trust into hope instead of preparing, and it sets us back. And when we say we want to leave generational wealth, like, how are we planning to